Hi, I'm Dani Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I am joined today by Frank Salguero with PG&E and Clara from Step Up and Power Down. Thanks for coming. This is our repeat episode, so if people have seen the two of you on Penn Voice before, they've been true viewers. But we wanted to invite you back because so much from Step Up and Power Down, this great partnership, so much more has happened. So let's start by telling our viewers a little bit about Step Up and Power Down before we kind of go into what's new for 2016.
Yeah, Dani, Step Up and Power Down is a movement, a community-based movement that's geared to help our customers in San Carlos, Redwood City, to reduce energy waste. It started off as a great partnership between PG&E, the cities of San Carlos and Redwood City, and it's fun, easy to do, and people are actually joining in droves. So.
I visited your site on the corner of Britton and Laurel, and I saw the pledges there of people that have been coming by and learning more and asking questions and saying, what can I do? But before we do that, so what's Step Up and Power Down for you, since you're with the organization?
Yeah, we're here to cut all of our energy waste at home, and we're doing that with our friends, with our neighbors, and all of the local residents who've joined so far are spreading that message every single day. And you were talking about folks coming into our resource center and walking away with tips on how they can take action today.
And so what's headed for 2016? What's different than what we were talking about last year?
Well, last year we had just launched, and it was a great year for us to grow and to learn, and we received a tremendous amount of support, sharing, and excitement from our local city partners as well as organizations around town. And 2016 is exciting because we're going to continue to be out on the streets. You'll be seeing us at a lot of the large community-based events such as Hometown Days, the upcoming Earth Day celebrations. And also, we're still looking to meet more local organizations who are really vested in the communities of San Carlos and Redwood City. So we're here to find ways to benefit all of our members.
So how about from PG&E's side? You're so very excited to be part of this community collaboration. What have we seen with regard to some of your goals, and that is to reduce energy?
Yeah, great question, Dani. We are actually seeing more folks reduce energy, people who are putting solar systems on their homes. We're seeing folks jumping into and being part of this more behavioral type of reduction of power, and there is a kind of a movement, a feeling that people get excited about that, and especially when you see kids really start to say turn off lights, change bulbs, reduce the heat in the house. It's pretty exciting.
We were talking about simple actions you can take at home, but it's also very fun for it to be social, for you to interact with your neighbors. We have these exciting campaigns and games, and that's a really important part of Step Up and Power Down.
So give us some examples of those campaigns and games.
Yeah. So we go to a lot of farmers events once they're in session, and at our booth we have a space for kids to come and play with us, play games about how to find energy vampires that are capturing energy through their appliances. And so there's a lot of fun and games, but also a little bit of education along the way. And in the meantime, parents who have a little bit of a break and can engage with us, they can do their shopping, but they can also tell us, these are the things that I'm trying to do in my home. I'm trying to invest in my house, and I want to make it easy, and can we talk about ways that we can customize that for my home, for my family, without reducing how comfortable my home is per se.
Right.
Dani, another thing we offer is PG&E offers programs. Rebate programs for people who are going to be taking advantage of any kind of retrofit in their homes. If they're going to be, for example, I'm in a market now buying a washing machine, a clothes washer. We've got programs that allow you to identify which washers are the most energy efficient, and then there are rebates that are associated with that. So we want to actually help promote folks to actually save as much as they possibly can.
Well, what I think I love about the partnership and Step Up Power Down is it can be anything from as simple as unplugging electronics, which you sort of always forget that we leave the plug in the plug for our phone, but we unplug the phone, but we still leave the plug in the plug. And people don't necessarily know that that's still drawing power, and that's and the same thing with our toasters and some of our things that we don't use all day long. And that's what I love about the program, because it can be something as large as looking at solar panels, but it can be something as simple as when you leave the room, turn your lights off, or use your washer and dryer at specific hours and not during peak hours and things like that. So what are we finding now with this energy savings? I mean, it comes back to the consumer in reduced rates in some cases when there are large things. But what about sort of our energy usage? You sort of talked about that in the beginning. Are we seeing the reduction on the grid, if you will, at a larger scale?
Absolutely we are. As a matter of fact, we have at PG&E, we have this My Energy, where you can actually access and you can actually see how you're performing over time. It's real-time information. It even breaks down by the hour, and you can actually compare this time last month, this time last year, to see what you're doing. The energy you save actually helps us not having to build new power plants and whatnot, because we're able to actually keep our ability to serve capacity constant.
And having that information is so important, because we want to be making the right decisions and we want to take control of our energy use at home. And it's wonderful to have these resources on the website, such as PG&E's my PG&E online account, because I can share that information with my roommate and say, how are there ways for us to take action today together? And I can share that information also with my coworkers or my neighbors, so that our individual actions can really add up and make a difference for our town as a whole. We have a newly updated website, stepupandpowerdown.com, and it's a great place to see how is the city of San Carlos doing as a town. How many pledges have we collected so far? As
I can see the competition between Redwood City and San Carlos happening now with your games and competitions.
I was going to ask, back in October we talked about some pledges that we all were going to take, and I wanted to ask you, how's that going, Dani?
So the pledge that I took was Dani Gasparini will step up and power down by unplugging electronics and take the home energy checkup test, which I did. But the fun one was the unplugging electronics. So here's my story. So I decided that our toaster, our coffee pot, all those kinds of things, microwave, we don't use them all day long. So when I left for work, I would unplug those things. So I forgot to tell my husband that I unplugged the coffee pot, and the coffee pot has never been unplugged in our whole life. He thought it was broken. So he went to go and buy a new one at Costco because he didn't realize that it was simple as I unplugged it. So he thought, but I saved him a trip and just said, no, I just unplugged the coffee pot. So I thought it was kind of fun. So now he knows that when something doesn't work, it might be that I just unplugged it.
That must have been a rude awakening in the morning as he tried to make his
He's like, oh my gosh, the coffee pot doesn't work. This is not going to be good. But it was simply that I had unplugged it. And he never even thought that it would just be unplugged. And I think that's a lot of it. We don't necessarily know that or realize that something as simple as that, where just the little LED light on the coffee pot does draw power.
Absolutely.
And the same thing with the microwave and the same thing with the toaster, just by having those kinds of things plugged in. Now I've got 5 appliances just in the kitchen that are unplugged when I leave for work. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you don't have to think about that because you've already taken care of it. You can spend that time and energy on something else that you want to be doing more of.
Right. So how did you guys do on your pledges?
Well, one of the things I've identified here is I'll change all my lights to LED. The second was program my thermostat to 68 degrees. And I've got to tell you, even though we've had an El Nino year, I've actually been true to keeping my thermostat at home at 68 degrees, which has been great, as well as my LED lights. The self-awareness of energy use and take action, very similar to you. When you're aware of something, it becomes almost a second nature.
Right.
Okay, unplug, just being aware, really important.
Yeah, well, we are out of time. Can you believe that already? So the only thing I can do is say we need to have you come back for a third time to ensure that we keep this momentum going. I know we've met outside in the community and wanting to meet with Rotary groups and interfaith groups and Girl Scout groups and anyone that's willing to listen that can spread the word and say it's as simple as this and get involved and, as we say, step up and power down.
Okay.
Thanks, Frank.
So much.
Thanks, Clara, for joining us. We'll see all of you next time on Penn Voice. you.